From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 135 of the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined this week by my co-hosts Warren Carr, Austin Pinto, Fee Dunn, John Dyer, Doug Cameron, Marion Mosen and Sally Kunders. And we are coming to you on Saturday the 8th of July 2023. It's a busy one for you this week, folks. We have our usual announcement section. Then we move into the Android basics, where we continue our perambulation through the Play Store. We then have a spotlight section where Warren and John continue our look at the Google Fold, and they give us a review. In the app of the week, I take a look at Google Calendar. And in the tip of the week, Warren shows you how to de-link devices from the Google Assistant to make it a little bit more responsive. So how are we all? How is life in Samsung's fair city, Yanak? Sally, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great. It's very sunny these days and burning hot, like 30 degrees here. And are you watching the British Grand Prix?
No, but I will watch the cricket and keep an eye on the under-21 final, which is happening now. I'm not a big Formula One fan, but
Yeah, it's exciting though.
Yeah, lots of sport going on this weekend. Mariam, long time since we've heard from your hudud. How are you?
Not bad, not too bad, I'd say. It's really hot here as well. I think summer is starting to show very well, and humidity is very high actually because of the Mediterranean as always. I've been kind of busy with musical stuff, but for the most part, it's going well. I have some working out to do, sports, and yeah.
Nice. I'll be in Egypt next month. Coming
Really?
on holiday. Yeah.
Okay, we have to meet then. Let me know if you want.
Yeah, that'd be good. Coming for 8 days next month, so that'd be good.
Okay, we should meet then.
Yeah. John Boy, what's going on in Virginia?
The babysitter is out of town this week. My wife is gone, so it's just me and the kiddo right now. So we're just hanging out watching Disney movies. If you hear any random sounds in the background, that's what's going on. But it's been a good week.
Where's the wifelet?
She went to visit a friend in Seattle for her 40th birthday.
The friends or the wifelets?
The friends.
Okay.
if all she wanted was to get away from me for her 40th birthday, that would not be good.
Well, you have to let them do what they do, don't you? Doug, how are you, darling boy?
Not too bad. Baking and as usual. Sitting today, it's supposed to be like 28, 29 Celsius. Tomorrow, probably 30 or higher. So trying to keep it cool, keep it calm, and stay away from the sun.
Nice. Has the world of air conditioning come to Alberta or not?
In the world of portable air conditioning, it's been here for a while.
What about in your house or flat or whatever you're doing?
We ain't in a flat. We got a house, but we've kind of opted not to go with the whole concept of like central air. We just have a portable air conditioner and fans. Keeps it cool enough.
Okay, fair enough. And Austin, what's going on in Mumbai-ingtons?
So Mumbai, the rain is increasing day by day, and the weather is getting even more better. That's good for me. And it's all normal, nothing very grand or good here. And one news is that our office has given us Saturday, Sunday holiday from now on. So from next week, we are going to have holidays all Saturday, Sunday. So that's good news. Maybe I may contribute more segments or more demos to the podcast.
So how many days a week were you working previously?
Previously, we were working 5.5 days. Now it's only 5 days.
Wowzers. Well, that is good. Glad to hear that. And Carr, what's going on in Warrington State?
Well, you guys have to be proud of me. I
I doubt
It was
you own pixels. I'm not proud of you, but try.
it was Wednesday, so I was sitting in my backyard that day. I was being lazy. I didn't have to go any place, and my neighbor across the street. So it was the day after July 4th, and he's like, "Your tree is on the sidewalk." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Stop the BS." He's like, "No, your tree is on the sidewalk." I went to the front door, and believe it or not, my plum tree, so heavy from the fruits, broke clean cut from the very bottom, laying on the sidewalk. So yesterday I spent some time, cutting it using an axe and, tried a chainsaw and the thing got bent, the blade. And so I used my axe and I spent over 3 hours, cutting that thing out. But I'm glad I got it. I got one limb left, that's laying on the ground. I need to chop that and put it in my backyard. Other than that, and this was like 95 degrees, believe it or not, it was so hot, absolutely
Oh,
hot. So
and what do you do with it when you've chopped it? Just
I
like
put
throw
it
it
all
away?
in my backyard, so we will make fire with it, so
Yeah.
that's firewood. Yeah.
So is the tree dead, or it won't grow from the stump, will it? That's gone, is it?
It's gone, but one
Yeah.
half of it is not, because it's just very interesting. It's one of those trees that grows like different limbs or whatever, different shoots. And so one part of it, one little part is still alive, but the bulk, very heavy, big one, it's all gone. Lots of fruits all over the sidewalk, all over the street. I had to sweep that crap off.
Any of the fruit salvageable, or is it all gone?
So the fruits are not yet ripe. It's just like they're green. They're not even ripe at all.
So all
Usually
gone.
by this time of year, they would be ripe since like June, but because it was too cold this winter or this spring, it's kind of like late. I mean, last couple of years, our fruits have been late because we've had like very wet, cold springs. So this is one of those springs, and so yeah, all of that. It just you have to see it. It's like someone dump a whole truckload of whatever fruits in my yard.
So you just have to you have to dump the fruit then, isn't it? Not good for anything.
I swept it up, and my friend said, "Hey, dump it in my yard." I'm like, "Good. Next year you have a bunch of plums there. That's your problem."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did scold my wife, by the way, Katie Kins, for something you posted about Pixel being the second best-selling phone in Japan. I scolded her about her ancestral homeland's poor choices and how it should do better, because she is Japanese descent. I wonder if some of it is the South Korea Samsung rivalry, but she says not. She says not now. She thinks that they would buy Samsung phones, but they should be buying beloved Sony phones anyway. So I don't know what's going on there.
That's very interesting you mentioned that, though, because I mean, Sony is from their home, and
So
it's not
sharp.
even showing up anywhere there. And out
No.
here, I am pining away for, like something like Sharp. I wanted to try something from Sharp, but it doesn't even pick anywhere there in Japan. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, they know a good thing when they see one. So the Pixel, it sells more in Japan than it does here, even in the US.
Apparently,
So
anything but
you go
Samsung,
figure.
according to Japan.
Yeah.
Beatrix, about how are you?
Yeah, not bad. It's a bit cooler than other places. London. It's been a bit warm. The other day it got up to 29, but we were supposed to have thunder today, but we didn't. We just had a lot of rain. So yeah.
It's kind of humdidded here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's sort of muggy and kind
Yeah.
of bleh. I'd quite like some thunder, actually. That'd
I
be quite
would.
good.
We got soaked today. We got kicked off a bus. It was diverted in central London. We got off and it absolutely siled it down. So
So
very
it wasn't because you
unusual.
were misbehaving. You actually, it was a diversion. It was. They didn't just go, Ed, you're annoying. Go away. Get off the bus.
Well, I was annoying. Like every time I get off a bus, I always ding the bell when I'm getting off. Not like to stop it once it has stopped, because there are poles by the door. I just feel like it.
You're such a child.
Yeah, that's what Katie Kittens and Michiko say as well. But we got kicked off this one because it diverted and absolutely siled it down.
I'm on the same page as you. Dinging it when you get off, that's so much more fun.
It's so good, isn't it?
Well, that's a song, isn't it? You Can Ring My Bell.
Ed is just a very naughty, naughty, naughty boy. That's all I can say. Likes to
is.
break the rules.
Yeah, he does. I tend to concentrate on getting off the bus because sometimes
Thank
the
you very
drivers
much.
shut the door quite quickly, and you nearly don't always. Sometimes it's like, let me off, because they're trying to shut the door, and you're like, no, I need to get off here.
No, you need to slow down. Like they say, take time to smell the flowers, take time to ring the bell.
This is the announcement segment of Blind Android Users podcast. Stay tuned to hear important information regarding the podcast, surveys, and the latest news.
Now we turn to our announcement section. I have one. The only announcement I have, and I could have done this as an app or tip of the week, but I ran out of time. Some of you might have heard of Threads, and this is Meta or Instagram's answer to Twitter. Now, I have had a look at the Android app, and it is pretty much accessible. It's not branded as Meta, which I think is quite interesting. It is branded as a sub-brand of Instagram, and it signs you up through your Instagram account. Now, if you don't have one of those, but if you have a Facebook account, then there might be a degree of seriality you need to go and get an Instagram account. I have one because I had to enter a competition. Then go and download Threads and have a look at it. And this is, as I say, Meta's answer to Twitter. Does it matter? Well, it had 10 million users in its first day. So I would suggest it kind of does. People are worrying about Mastodon and everything. And, Threads is going to eclipse that. There's no doubt about it. The only thing I would say about it is when you are on your, I don't know if it calls it your timeline or your feed or whatever, you have to swipe through everything relating to a post. So if you are on a post, then you'll have whatever the buttons are, share, repost, reply, whatever all the buttons are, and they're not. And you have to swipe multiple times to get past all of them to get to the next post. So if you are comfortable scrolling, I would suggest that. But certainly posting a thread, following people, is all very accessible. You have buttons towards the bottom of the screen, so it is absolutely fine to do that. It's very like Twitter. Threads are tweets. You can reply. You have mentions. You search for and follow people with @. So it's all fine. As I say, the only slightly thing is navigating through the feed is cumbersome. But if you do want to give it a go, don't worry. It's accessible, if not fantastically usable.
So something else I want to add, it's actually pretty accessible, but I've tried it with CSR, and apparently there seems to be a problem when you're scrolling through the feed. So sometimes it actually shows you, the content of the thread first, the post, and then it shows you who posted it, which is kind of weird. And then sometimes it might not actually show you the contents of the post. It will just show you like that someone has posted something when you scroll deeper into the app, which I think sucks sometimes. So I think this is the only accessibility problem that I've seen so far, as far as I know. But otherwise, I think it seems to be pretty accessible. I think the other side on iOS seems to be experiencing some accessibility issues.
But you're talking about, just to be clear for listeners, you're talking about using CSR, which is commentary screen reader, and not TalkBack.
Yeah, I have not tried it with TalkBack. I'm not sure if it's actually the same thing happens. Have you tried it with TalkBack, Ed, or CSR?
TalkBack, but I haven't gone particularly deep, so I haven't scrolled a long way down the feed.
I've also tried with CSR, and it's the same for me. I couldn't find it quite accessible scrolling through the timeline, so I hope it's get fixed.
Yeah.
I think I probably tried it enough with Talkback to say that it worked. I think I scrolled far enough down the feed with Talkback to suggest it didn't present a problem. I didn't go very deep into it though, because if you don't have many followers, it sort of suggests content, but it didn't seem to be problematic. I didn't sort of go, 20 posts in or anything though, so maybe it's a thing, but it seemed to work with Talkback as far as I could tell relatively well, but maybe other folks go have a look at it. I was reasonably impressed with it.
So something else I'm kind of curious about, in terms of threads, does it have any like a character limit? Because I know Twitter does, Mastodon does on some servers. Not sure about threads though.
I don't know.
I thought that threads is 500. Yeah, 500 characters.
Yeah.
That's what
No,
it is.
I don't think so. Because I think I've tried posting something that's above that. It actually did post.
The official thing said was 500 characters. But, really, the odd thing is that, one has to have that Instagram or whatever. I think that's not a very good thing.
No.
What if one doesn't want to be part of Instagram, for example? But as of yesterday, they have like 57 million people. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and that's why they did it. That's why they did it through Instagram and not as a separate brand of Meta, because they knew that Instagram had so many accounts
Oh,
already.
I see what you mean. That makes
was
sense.
the point.
Yeah.
That was the point. Yeah. Like Instagram's got.
That's
like, if you
brilliant.
go- yeah, of course.
Brilliant.
It's an absolute genius. It's the best bit of marketing I have probably seen this century, to be honest.
Maybe later on, when they think they have enough people, they
Yeah.
will open it up. If you don't have Instagram, you can come on. So that
It's
was
no big
brilliant.
deal. because like I had to get Instagram to enter a competition to win some tickets, and I'm on Facebook anyway, and it just like it says, do you want to use your Facebook account? And I'm like, yes please. And then I had an Instagram account, but because they did it through Instagram, they had all the users already. Like, it's absolute genius marketing that.
Talking about apps, guys, we got our app bonanza coming up on the 29th, and we've asked you guys, to kind of send in your apps. So please, if you have an app that you've been wanting to hear a demo of, you could just record that, or you could just send it to one of us, or send it to our email. If you can do it, let us know if someone would be free to do that app demo for you. But our app bonanza, the third one, is coming up on July the 29th. So send in the apps that you would like to have us talk about or record, and send us demos that we'll take a listen to. And if it's good, we'll put it on.
Do check if we've already reviewed it though, because unless there's a significant update, we might say, well, we've already done that. So yeah. The easiest way to do that is probably to there's an app of the week playlist, isn't there, on YouTube?
Yeah,
So-
or just do a search on the channel, I think is probably easier. Put the app name in. Make sure it's the channel search and not the YouTube search, though, and that will probably be the easiest way.
Yeah, or just type blind Android users and then the name of the app, and that will. Yeah.
So I'm absolutely not calling any individual out here, because I know we all have lives and stuff, but collectively, you've been absolutely pitiful at this. You want us to review apps, and we can only do so much. So please, somebody step up and submit an app for the app bonanza. Please, several people do it. That would be amazing if you possibly could. We'll do what we can do, but it is a community, and we do need the community occasionally to do something. So that would be brilliant. As Fee says, though, check whether we've done it before, and the easiest way to do that is the YouTube channel.
This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
And now we turn to our Android Basics section. And I have a rant about this. Spoiler alert. But we hand over to Warren to introduce the next section in our look at the Play Store.
As we plow our way through the Play Store, we come to the 9th entry, and I can't believe that we've had 8 segments from the Play Store. But the Play Store is massive, and frankly, if we're going to do any justice to it, we want to make sure that no stone is left unturned. And talking about no stone left unturned, now and then Google introduces something, and this is one of those cases whereupon by the time something came through, we had gone past that area. And so before we talk about today's entry, which will be continuing from the Play settings, which we'll be talking about a couple items in the way of the network preferences and purchasing authentication, I would like to talk about something that came through, and that's found in the Manage My Apps and Device. That's when you tap on your username and then you move your finger down and find that Manage Apps and Device. You're going to see your updates and all of that. And in there's something I want us to talk about, and that has to do with syncing or syncing devices. I will now show you what I'm talking about. So now I am in the menu, and I'll move my finger down and tap on Manage Apps and Device.
Manage Apps and Device, 2 of 7.
I'll go ahead and tap here.
Manage Apps and Device, Play Store. Manage Apps and Device, out of list.
I am here now in that area where we have things about updates and all
No
of that.
harmful apps found. Play protects. Updates available. 147 updates pending.
So I got 148 updates pending. But the one I want to talk about is below here, and it has to do about installing apps. So if I install apps here, I could choose to have that app automatically get installed on my other devices, provided that they are on the same account. Here's what I'm talking about.
Sync apps to devices. No devices synced. 4 of 6.
Sync app to devices. No devices in sync because I haven't chosen to do so. So if I tap here, for example,
Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
and I'm going to put my finger near the top so we hear the information,
Sync apps to devices.
and moving my finger down,
No devices synced.
I hear no devices sync, and below that,
Apps that you install on this device will also be installed on your sync devices.
so if I choose to sync some of my devices that will be showing below here, every time I install any app on this particular device, such an app will also get installed on my other app.
Samsung SMG 991U1. Checkbox. Not checked.
Okay.
Hisense HiSmart TVA 4. TV. Checkbox. Not checked. Google Chromecast. TV. Checkbox.
As
Not
you can
checked.
see, these are,
Google Pixel 7 Pro. Phone. Checkbox. Not checked.
the list goes on and on. So if I check any of these, then every time I install an app, particularly from this phone, which is my Pixel 6 Pro, that will get installed on the chosen device. And now that we have touched on that, now let's go back now and focus on the items that we want to talk about today. And that would be from the settings. And we're talking about a couple today. We're talking about the network preferences, basically when you're downloading things, and the purchasing authentication. Let's now navigate back to the top and go find that settings.
Manage apps and device. Manage apps and device.
And I'm going to go back,
New apps we love. July's picks.
and that takes me back to the main UI of the Play Store. I will now tap on the top right corner on my username and go tap on settings.
Signed in as Warren Carr Warcare at Gmail.
And I'm going to tap here.
Account and settings. Close. Button.
And now we move to the bottom and tap on settings.
Settings. 1 of 2. In list. 2 items.
Here is settings, and we'll tap here to activate.
Play Store. Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
Now, last week we looked at the general. That was the first item here in the settings. And we're looking at the second item from below there and the third item. So the second item below the general item is
Network preferences. Data usage for downloads. Auto updates. Click to expand the network preferences settings section. In list.
that's the first one we want to take a look at. And I'll tap here to expand this area.
Click to collapse the network preferences settings section.
Expanding that area, here are the items we find.
App download preference over any network.
So here is the app download preference, how you want it to download, especially whether you want it on mobile data or not. You could tap here to go set how you want to do it. If you leave it on any network, then it means whether you're on Wi-Fi or on mobile data, it'll use whatever network that's available. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Google Play Store. App download preference, out of list.
And we got,
Over any network, data charges may apply.
or,
Radio button, selected.
so that's the one that is selected by default,
Over Wi-Fi only.
and the radio button below that.
Radio button, not selected.
If I check that, then it means it will only work on Wi-Fi. And
Ask me every time.
we got ask me every time. So in other words, every time there's an update or I want to download something, it's going to ask, hey, what network do you want to use? You want to use your mobile or your Wi-Fi? And I'm going to go to cancel.
Ask cancel button. Play Store. App download preference, over any network, in list.
Moving away from here, we come to the next item.
Auto update apps. Auto update apps over Wi-Fi only. Auto update apps over Wi-Fi only.
We come to updates and auto updates. So in other words, you could change how your updates are done, whether they can only be done when you're on Wi-Fi, or if you want, you could set it to where it could download on whatever network that's available to you. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Google Play Store. Auto update apps, out of list.
And putting my finger down
Auto update apps.
and moving down,
Over any network, data charges may apply.
we got the first item is over any network,
Radio button, not selected.
and that is not selected. The next item,
Over Wi-Fi only.
we got over Wi-Fi only,
Radio button, selected.
and that one is selected by default.
Don't auto update apps.
And the last one is don't auto update, and below that,
Radio button, not
the
selected.
radio button. So in other words, if you don't want your apps to automatically update, then you could choose this. And that means you have to manually go do your updates. I'll tap on the cancel.
Cancel button. Play Store. Auto update apps. Auto update apps over Wi-Fi only, in list.
Moving away, we come to,
Autoplay videos. Autoplay videos over Wi-Fi only.
and that has to do with playing videos, and you can go in here and change how it does it for you. That's the last item here in the network preferences. The next item, which is the second item we're looking at today in the player settings, is the one that has to do with purchasing authentication. And here it is.
Authentication. Fingerprint. Purchase authentication. Click to expand the authentication settings section.
And I'm going to tap here to activate.
Click to collapse the authentication settings section.
The first item we'll come across,
Biometric authentication for Google Play purchases on this device.
and we got,
Biometric authentication. Switch on.
and it's switched on.
Require authentication for purchases for all purchases through Google Play on this device.
And you could tab here if you don't want it to require authentication on the particular device you're working on. So for example, if I tap,
Google Play Store. Purchase authentication, out of list.
then we have the following.
Require authentication on this device.
And
For all purchases through Google Play on this device.
for all purchases,
Radio button, selected.
and that's selected. Next,
Every 30 minutes.
every 30 minutes,
Radio button, not selected.
or
Never.
never.
Radio button, not selected.
In other words, if you choose a never, then every time you make any purchase on this device, you wouldn't need to make some authentication. But it does say something here at the bottom.
To protect your account, authentication may be required for purchases in some apps regardless of settings.
So in some apps, it may still require your authentication. So I'm kind of imagining if it's a big purchase, they may want to make sure. And then below that, we have the cancel.
Cancel button.
There we go.
Play Store. Require authentication for purchases for all purchases through Google Play on this device in list.
And that's the last item here under purchasing authentication. And I'll now hand it over to the podcast crew and let's deliberate about these things.
Thank you, Warren. I will ask everyone else what they think in a minute, but I do have an issue with this purchase authentication thing. Now, I am fairly security conscious if you accept the fact I sideload APKs. I have a third-party security suite on my phone. I never ever connect to public Wi-Fi. I always connect behind a VPN, and I would never advocate that anybody turn off authentication for purchases. But at the same time, if you want to be silly and turn that off, I defend your right to be silly. And it should never be the case that you are occasionally asked to be authenticating purchases when you've set it to never. It's like not having a screen lock and being asked to enter a screen lock. It's absolute nonsense. And why is Google doing this, Warren?
So the only thing that could come to my mind is, like I said, I think maybe if a purchase is maybe like a big one, maybe say it's $100 purchase or whatever, or like gamers and incessant in-app purchases or whatever. I think those things can go up by the thousands. I was reading here, and I can't believe that some kid blew up $60,000 on in-app purchase of games and all of that. So I can see how that would be. That maybe something when it's getting incessant, that it may need some sort of an authentication. I don't know, but really, it just doesn't. If I've chosen never, then let it be. But I think they're also looking out for you in the event that maybe you're like Ed and you went to the pub and maybe had one or two and you didn't mean to say the words. That's the only thing I can think of. But frankly, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think, to be fair, for the absolute record, if you set this to never, you're an absolute idiot, by the way. But I want to defend your right to be an idiot if that's what you want to be. Then why don't I don't get it. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. And for the record, I don't think I've ever been to a pub. Have I been to a pub, Fee?
Oh boy, no, you haven't been to a pub, Ed?
Don't believe
I
so.
think you might have been to quite a few pubs, Ed. I don't think you've been to a pub. No, I think you've been to lots of pubs.
I remember an episode that we had someone doing it from a pub, and if my memory serves me right,
Really?
which I believe is still good, it was Ed.
Was
Yes,
it?
it was.
Was it? Was it though?
Yes, though.
Yeah, tell that to my 2-year-old.
Yeah,
Ed, I have your mindset.
It was the episode of me being the Android journey guy.
Yeah.
Ed, I have my authentication set to never.
Do
Are
you?
you disappointed in me? Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got a child.
I defend your right to do what you want, but what I don't think you should have to do is then authenticate.
Yeah, true. I mean, my thinking is, if my phone is unlocked, I did it. So I don't leave my phone, screen on, sitting somewhere for somebody to pick up and buy something. So I just.
How long does it take your phone before it locks? What have you set it to?
5 minutes.
Okay. You
mean
might
the screen
wanna,
turns itself off?
Yeah, you might want to reduce that with a child around, though. If your child could accidentally buy apps. I heard of a case once where a child of 3 clicked to order a really expensive car on eBay once. So just,
Wow.
let that be a lesson before it has to be, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok where they ordered on DoorDash 500 hamburgers or something from McDonald's.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Wow.
I saw that too. That was absolutely fabulous. And one of our school friends, iPhoner, their child booked a viewing on their house, which is nice. It's a good job they didn't say.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how there's No, presumably they must have been vaguely thinking about it because there was some sort of estate agent app. I don't know how you do that accidentally if something wasn't in the offing anyway. How do you find? I don't have an estate agent app on my phone. Exactly. So I'm guessing they must have vaguely, but yeah, the child booked a viewing on their parents' house.
How old was the child?
2.
I think that what Ed was trying to say is that if I have chosen never, then don't give that occasional happening that I need to authenticate. So
Yeah, it's a bit
I
weird.
see it's a point here, but like I said, probably they're just looking out for you. But if I decide to be, whatever, I know what I'm doing. So if I've
Yeah.
chosen never, then let me keep my never, and don't bother me about it. But the good thing is that would only happen on that device, so it's not a cross-device setting.
No. And if we wanted to be infantilized, we'd buy an iPhone, wouldn't we? Well, Apple does that for us and prevents us from doing anything because it treats us like children. And I don't think we do want to be infantilized. So please don't do that, Google.
The one part that I want to talk about is that the network thing. Does anyone remember when it used to be that, if you just plug in your phone, you have updates waiting and it'll just auto update? I noticed that mine is doing that again. For a while it wasn't doing that. And then I realized now it's doing that again. But was that just me seeing that, or has anyone seen that?
I don't know. I've always left auto update on, so I don't know.
What I think's really weird though is how slow auto update is. Like it doesn't happen very often, does it? Like
Yeah,
you went
true.
in and you had 100 and you had maximum break, didn't you? 147. Like why haven't they just instantly updated?
Yeah, that's true. It's
I
like
don't
it tells you that
understand
you have available updates, and then you're like, okay, I have auto updates on. What the hell's going on, And then you never know. And also, it's very late. So, like, if an update comes, the beginning of this week, like the week, it might actually just get to you. Like, it's there, but it doesn't auto update like until 2 days
It's
later.
there. Yeah, it's there. Very interesting. And I think that it happens if you plug it in, though. And so if it's not doing anything and it's plugged in, then it will automatically update those. I think that's what I saw in one of mine, and that used to be the case. I don't know why Google hasn't, kept it that way. But things keep changing, on the Play Store. Next time this is happening, next time that feature's gone. It's just unbelievable.
You know what really winds me up? When you go and use an app and you need it immediately and it goes, hey, you need to update.
Oh, I hate that.
Envision,
So
I'm
annoying.
looking at you. Envision AI, Envision
Yes.
AI, Envision
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yep.
Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it! It sucks because like I'm a beta tester and it doesn't get updated. What the hell's going on? Like
Yeah.
every single time you go in
I
there
know.
to do something and it tells you like there's an update. You need to update the app. I was like, okay, why isn't it updated like automatically?
No, but
Why?
also
Yeah.
don't make it so that I have to update the app to use a feature that already existed. Like I need to scan text now immediately.
Yes.
I don't want to update an app. I don't care whether
Yeah,
it should have
I don't want to have
auto-updated.
to say to people, "Oh, hang on, wait a minute. Oh no, I'm not ready yet. No, I haven't read it yet. Oh dear, no, I haven't read it yet."
Yeah.
No, it's
Like,
a joke. Envision need to
it's
sort
not good.
this immediately.
They
The
do.
other thing that annoys me about apps is that if you don't use them for a while, they get disabled.
You can turn that off.
Oh, good. I'm going to then.
Yeah, quite how you do it depends on your phone, but it essentially prevents apps having permissions that if they somehow get malware invaded. But you can stop it doing that. Quite how you do it varies on your phone. But yeah, you should turn it off. It's very annoying.
That's really annoying because like sometimes you're busy and you don't use like I don't know, Dolphin Easy Reader or something for a while.
Then you have to reconfigure the whole thing when you open it again, and it's a nightmare.
It's really annoying.
It mostly happens with the Samsung phones, and you can just go into per application info and you can turn it off.
Can you turn it off for all apps?
Globally,
though?
you can turn it off globally, can't you, Sally? I think.
No, you need to one by one.
Oh, what?
No, I don't think you do. I'm pretty sure you can do it globally.
So if you go into the battery settings, you can set which are deep sleeping apps. Well, you can unsleep them all at once from there, but I don't know if you could.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to wake them up. I
off.
want them not to have gone to sleep.
There's probably a way to do it.
I'm a human. I need sleep. Apps don't. Sorry, they just don't.
I'm
it already.
I'm pretty sure you can stop that globally.
Well, yeah, if you go to the apps though, toward that bottom where it talks about apps, whatever, you could disable that feature. Say, hey, don't put my apps to sleep.
Yeah, I
even
think
if
you
I
can.
don't use them. So.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But for me, I like that feature because, frankly, there are apps that probably I haven't used like in more than a year. You know what I mean? And I just
I had one.
discovered that.
I
I'm
had
like,
one
oh
I hadn't
no, I
used.
didn't know I have this on there.
I had one I hadn't used for just 2 or 3 months, and it was disabled already.
Yeah.
And that was Dolphin Easy Reader. I'm looking at you, Dolphin Easy Reader, Dolphin Easy Reader, Dolphin Easy Reader. Stop it!
Go easy on the boys. I like those boys.
I'm not going easy on anyone.
No, speaking of Dolphin Easy Reader, I remember him purchasing a voice through them, and then it was a pain in the neck, like trying to purchase the voice and then trying to return it again because I wanted something else, like another voice, and it was. I remember I returned it and I received the refund email, and the voice was still there. I'm not even joking. Yeah, it was just.
Well,
yeah.
I think to be fair, Jonathan's granddaughter, that's all right. I think for you, it might have been your phone that made Dolphin fall asleep rather than Dolphin. I don't think it put itself to sleep. I think that's Samsung that did that.
I think so, but I don't think Dolphin sells voices anymore. It looks like they don't anymore.
I'm not sure. That was like a couple months ago.
Dolphin won't sell voices anymore.
Well, it seems to me they only use like the Google voices. That's all that they have now.
They do computer. They do computer stuff though as well.
I'm talking about the Easy Reader. Is that not the one we're talking about?
They used to be like this to sell the vocalizer voices, like
that was like $9, and that's the one I ran it about. But they don't have that anymore. I don't see that at my end.
I'm not. So, like, if you purchased some, you still have them, but you cannot purchase them anymore. Right?
That's annoying.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I got my vocalizer voices
I don't see the voices there anymore.
My vocalizer voices were from Code Factory, I thought.
Yeah, exactly. I bought mine from Code Factory too.
Yeah, but Fee, what we're saying though, the vocalizer from Code Factory is like $3.99, but the ones coming from Dolphin Easy Reader is like $9. And so, but the problem with Dolphin was that it wouldn't let you use locally available PTS engines that you have on your device. So you have vocalizer.
Oh, you mean for reading text?
Yeah,
that are in text. I never use it for that. I only read all the audio.
What sucked more was the fact that you have to use the default one that you're using, but you cannot use something else unless you buy from them.
Exactly.
Oh no, that's naughty.
And the voices were like more expensive than the original ones. However, you can't even use them as like your TTS engine. It's like you purchase them for like higher price, and then you can't use them with the system.
I think we need to get Dolphin on and then we could have roasted Dolphin.
But they're not doing that. They're not doing that anymore. They're not doing that anymore.
And I'm not blaming them because Voice Remeter did the same. So like you have to purchase acapella voices from them, and then you cannot use them with the system. And they used to be, I think they're not more expensive than the acapella voices themselves, actually. So if you purchase an acapella voice, it's the same price, if not less.
Yeah.
Does that Kindle workaround work? You know, that weird thing we demonstrated where you can have a different system voice and a different Kindle voice. Will that work on Easy Reader?
No.
No, nowadays, like I said, Easy Reader just exclusively at least at my end, just uses the high quality voices from Google. And that's it.
Yeah. But do you remember when we showed the Kindle TTS splitting thing, where you go and you can set one engine? Will that work on Easy Reader?
I don't remember if it did, because I was a little bit pissed off with Easy Voice Reader because of that inability to use my locally available TTS engines.
Because we did that on Kindle, didn't we? We fixed it. Well, we showed a fix, which is a bit weird, but it worked, where you could have a different Kindle voice to the TTS. Do you remember we demonstrated it?
So
yes, we did.
Will that method actually work with Google Play Books? Because with Google Play Books, it's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, maybe. I'd go and have a look at it and try it on Easy Reader.
This is the Spotlight segment. Stay tuned for premium interviews, device unboxing, and more.
And now we move to our Spotlight section, where Warren and John give their thoughts on the Google Fold.
Hi, this is Warren Carr from Blind Android Users Podcast. Last week, John and I did an unboxing of the Pixel Fold. That is a duet unboxing, as we both unboxed our Pixel Folds at the same time. Today, however, I'm doing a little review of the Pixel Fold. There's not much to talk about when it comes to the system settings. If you're familiar with the Pixel devices, everything is the same. The only thing I want to highlight here, maybe a thing or two, and the first one has to do with the fact that unlike any other foldable device out there, the Pixel Fold is the one that you can exclusively use the outer screen if that's what you want to use without the need of unfolding the device. We talked about the physical or the hardware parts of it last week, and I think the one thing we didn't mention, I don't remember, but the battery is like 4,821 milliamp, and that's what the battery capacity is. So if you're using the device unfolded, of course, it's going to be eating up your battery. But if you keep your device folded, it will last longer than when you have it unfolded. So as I indicated, everything is usable right here on the display. So if I were on an app, for example, while it's folded, and then I unfold it, then it will take me straight to that app I was working on. The same thing happens if I was working on an app while it is unfolded and I decide to fold it, it will take me to the last app I was working on while it was unfolded. I am on my home screen and I'm going to show you a couple of things. The one thing that I like is that you can use these apps side by side, only two at a time, unlike the Samsung foldable that I believe you can use up to 4 apps at the same time. This one gives you only 2 because each one takes the full panel. So you can only use 2 at once. As to that of the Samsung, you can use 2 on one side and 2 on one side. But I think I prefer the Fold or the implementation from Google rather than the one from Samsung. It's not a bias, it's just saying. So here I am.
Gmail. Home.
There's Gmail there.
Gmail. Play Store.
There's Play Store.
Gmail.
So let's say I tap on Gmail.
Mail. Search in Mail. Search in Mail.
And I'm on the outer display.
For Basil Woods. Producer. Forums. Me. Warren. 2 new.
So that's Gmail. So now I'm going to unfold the device.
Sound settings. Landscape.
Whoops. I somehow activated my
Mail. Search in Mail. Search in Mail.
assistant there. So here I am. I have unfolded the phone. And on my left panel,
Taskbar
of course, as soon as you open the fold, it defaults to the landscape mode. And I really hate tablets. So I don't see me using this thing as a tablet. It's not for me. So here I am. On the left-hand side will be my inbox with all the messages, whether read or unread messages. They're here on the left-hand side. And on the right,
Select a conversation.
there's nothing on the right because if I open the message, then it will display that on the right panel, while my left panel contains the read and unread messages. For example,
Basil Woods. Producers of the Month. Producers of the Month. Isolate Generate Master
let's say
Raphael.
I tap
Riviera.
on this.
Producers of the Month. Out of list.
Now, I go to the right panel, and I should be able to read that email message.
French-Italian polymath. Raphael is known for creating the band Young Futura and working with artists such as Trey Songz, Lloyd Banks, Raekwon, Lucky Day, Asher Roth, Suni Colon, Nambe, Tim Atlas, Petit Noir.
I just tapped to stop it. Now I'll move my finger to the left panel, and I have
Primary. Enlist. Forums. Me. Warren. 2 new. Basil Woods, producers of the month.
And there's
Producers of the
still
month.
that message
Isolate
that I
generate
read there.
master
So
Raphael.
now,
Forums.
if-
Me, Warren. 2 new.
if I tap on the forum, that's the BAU forum.
Forums. Page. Out of
And
list. Unread. Warren. 2 messages. Flight TTS. Blind Android users.
so if I
eloquence for
tap
Android
on
is dead,
this
at least
one,
for anyone who didn't already
it
have
will
it. Hi,
take
Steve.
me.
I don't think you're missing anything for not trying the Flight TTS.
If I tap on this message, for example, it will move to the right panel. So watch.
Flight TTS. Blind Android users. Eloquence for Android is dead, at least for anyone who didn't already have it in Pager.
So now if I put my finger on the right panel,
Warren Carr. 3:40 p.m. Hi, Steve. I don't think you're missing anything for not trying the Flight TTS. I haven't tried it in quite a spell either. I think I tried it like a year or a lee.
so see, there it is. It's reading. It has traded places with that one from Basilwood that I was reading. And now that one from Basilwood is now on my left-hand panel as a read message.
Unread. Valiant 8086. 5 messages.
So
Blind
if I
Android users.
tap here,
Blind Android users recognizing images in the photo gallery. Page. In Pager.
and now if I move to the right,
Valiant 8086. 5:27 p.m. Hi.
there's Aaron's message there.
My S21 has a Bixby Vision option in my photo salary. Using that makes it give me an admittedly pretty blah guess as to what the picture is. Maybe the Ops phone can do that too.
There you go. So that's how it works on the split screen. So your messages are on the left panel, that is your inbox, and all the settings and all of that. So basically, the right-hand panel is only intended for reading, and while the left panel contains the items. I'm going to navigate away from here.
Home.
I am back home, for example. And the next thing I want to show here before we bring this to a close is the fact that I want to look at how the split screen works. And I'm going to swipe from the bottom with 2 fingers and then hold to activate that split screen or the recent apps mode.
Recent apps. Settings cast. 17 of 19. In list. 19 items.
Now, what happens is that when you activate the recent apps, then the items are found in a row. There's like 4 to each panel. So the left will have like 4 items, and then to the right, you'll have the right panel having 4 items. So for example, if I put my finger on the right, I got
Google Play Store, 18 of 19.
and to the right of that,
Gmail, 19 of 19.
and then below that,
Settings cast, 17 of 19.
and now move to the left panel here,
Phone, 14 of 19.
and to the right of the phone,
Settings, 16 of 19.
and then below the phone that's on the top left,
Chrome, 13 of 19.
and to the right of Chrome,
Android Accessibility Suite Talkback Settings, 15 of
Android
19.
Accessibility Talkback Settings. Now, let's try to open 2 things here. In other words, we're going to have them run side by side. And like I said, this would only run side by side, one on the left and one on the right. So let's say, for example, we want to activate.
Gmail, 18 of 19.
So let's say I want to activate the split screen. Swipe
Close.
down
App info. Split screen.
and I tap. And now I need to tap on the second app to open up.
Google Play Store, Play Store. Play Store. 512 play points available.
And
Taskbar
there
hidden.
we have
Ends on July 13th, 23.
Play Store.
Get to know your new Pixel Fold.
Now, if I want to change these layouts, if I want to move, say, my Play Store to the right and then my Gmail to the left, then I find the middle where it talks about split screen.
Split screen divider. Out of list. Windows
And
split screen divider.
I could just slightly move my finger just before the fold, double tap and hold and drag, and I can move that Play Store to the right. I'm going to do that now. Let my finger go. There we go.
Get to know your new Pixel Fold. Open up the possibilities. In list. Window Play Store.
Now I have the Play Store now on the right and the Gmail.
Basil Woods. Producers of the month. Producers of the
I
month.
have
Primary.
that on my left. Now, if I put my finger on the fold,
Get to know your new Pixel
again,
Fold. Split screen divider. Out of list.
and I
Windows split
swipe
screen
down,
divider. Left full screen.
I could tap here to give the left panel a full screen,
Left 70%.
or make it 70%,
Left 50%.
or left 50%.
Left 30%.
Keep swiping.
Right full screen.
Right full screen.
Activate.
And if I don't want to do that, then all I can do is just tap again. That is, tap just before the fold and then either move left or right. Moving left will mean that I am giving priority to the one on the right panel. And if I move to the right, I'm giving priority to the one on the left panel by increasing it. I do want to mention here that the phone calls work very
Gmail.
well.
Home.
And,
Monday, July 3rd.
The only thing, however, I was hoping that when I slammed the phone shut, if I had it unfolded, and I'm talking and I got mad at John or mad at Gary, that if I slammed it shut, it will stop the phone call, but it does not. That was what I was hoping for, so that I'll hang up on John. But it doesn't do that. Again, the phone calls sound really good, and I could turn this volume up and it doesn't distort my screen reader or, my TTS. And this time I'm going to close it and I'm going to slam it closed just for Karine, because she wanted to hear
Monday,
that.
July 3rd.
There
Screen
we go.
off.
I slammed it and it says screen off. So it shut my screen off and shut off my screen. And if I just press that power,
6:56 p.m. Device locked. Unlocked.
and
Device
there
unlocked.
we go.
Home.
My screen
Monday, July 3rd.
is unlocked. Now, there's something I want to show here before we bring this to a close. That is, if I bring down my notification and then I pull it
Quick
down
settings.
again.
Expanded. Page 1 of 2. Out of list.
And
Page
here,
1 of 2. Off. Off folded. Auto rotate screen. Switch. 6 of 8.
and there it says off folded, because it's telling me that it is not unfolded. So the fold is not on. And that's one thing you find there in that quick panel. Now, before I bring this to a close, another thing, though, that you may find interesting, or if you like it, is that when you are in a typing mode, then it will show the split screen. So, for example, if I unfold it,
Landscape. 6:58 p.m.
it is
Showing split
unfolded.
keyboard. Home. Monday,
And
July 3rd.
If I swipe
App
up,
suggestions. Showing split keyboard. Search apps, web and more. Switch input method. Home. Editing. Search apps, web and more. Edit box.
so my screen, or rather my keyboard, is now a split screen. So you can put it on your lap, and knowing that you have one half of the keyboard on the right and one half on the left. That comes in handy. I just wish that virtual keyboards would let us put our fingers down, and once I find my fingers on the home row, then I should be able to type, a little bit better. I'm going to try that and see what happens. See, they don't let us do that. That would be so nice now that my fingers are on the home screen, and if I could just position my fingers on the left panel on the home row there, and my right fingers on the right panel on the home row there. Say I have my left fingers on ASDF and then semicolon LKJ on the right, and we should be able to type like that. I think that will be a win-win situation. But that's been a quick review of the Pixel Fold. It's a great device. If you like foldables, this is definitely it. And if you don't like foldables like me, or if you don't like tablets rather like me, then if you get it, then just use it folded. It's a great device all the same.
You're listening to the Blind Android Users podcast.
All right, so now it's my turn. I'm just going to touch on a couple of things that Warren didn't mention, and then give my own thoughts about the device. So first I'm going to bring down the notification shade, because this is something that's also different when you're using the large screen.
Quick settings and notification shade. 9:4 off. Color inversion. Switch.
So as you could see, it said notifications and quick panel. So when you bring down the notification shade, you're going to have everything here altogether. You have
100% display brightness slider.
You have your brightness slider, and then
Off. Color inversion switch.
you have 6 quick toggles under that. There's room for 8, but for whatever reason there's only 6 here. So if you want to get to more, you'll have to swipe to the side with 2 fingers, but that's 2 more than you get in the regular notification shade. This is all on the left side, so that brightness slider and the quick toggles are all on the left side. And then if you have media playing, at the bottom of the left side is where you'll have the media player. And then on the right half of the screen is where all your notifications are going to be. So unlike on a phone, or I should say unlike on a regular phone, where you have to swipe down once to get to the notifications and then swipe down a second time to get to the quick panel, you'll have everything here right away. So quicker access. Now I'm going to back out of here and go to the home screen.
Color inversion. Home. Thursday, July 6th.
So now I'm here on the home screen, and I just wanted to describe how this is different. So the way this works is you're going to see 2 pages on the home screen when you open it up. So whatever your main home screen is and the home screen that shows up when you swipe 2 fingers to the left to go to the next home screen page, those are both going to be visible here when you open up the device. So it's like 2 home screens at once. And then under that, you're going to have an extra icon on the dock. So I guess 6 is better than 5. I don't know why they just added 1 more, but you can fit 6 on the screen when you open it up. So whatever that 6th icon is on your dock is not going to be showing on your home screen when the phone is closed. So here on the left side,
Home. Swappa.
I have
Best Buy. eBay.
all my normal icons, and then on the other side,
Play or pause.
I have my widgets for my different media players. So basically what I had on my main screen and my secondary screen are all here at once. And if you add a 3rd and 4th screen, that will be the second page of this screen when you open it. Another thing I wanted to mention is that if you have the navigation buttons enabled rather than gestures, that will let you have the taskbar, which is basically the dock, always showing. So I have the buttons enabled now, so I'm just going to show you what that's like.
Home. Chase. Home. Roborock. Nest.
Just open Nest.
Front door. Nest. Nest Cam video playback view.
So here I am in the Nest app. Let me back out of that view.
Open Nest menu. You have 8 new messages. Button.
And even though I'm in the app, at the bottom of the screen
Phone.
is basically my dock. So the first icon
Apps list.
is an apps list. So you can click this button to get to your app drawer. And then
Phone. Messages. Gmail. Play Store.
this is basically my entire dock,
YT Music.
always showing
YouTube.
at the bottom. And then you hear that sound because that's the end of that section. But if I swipe again,
Back. Button.
then we have the navigation buttons.
Home. Button. Recents. Button. Accessibility. Button.
And I have my accessibility button enabled. That's assigned to reading mode. So I have access to all this at the bottom of the screen all the time. I mentioned in the Pixel tablet review that I didn't understand the point in the taskbar because it hides itself. But I discovered that on the Fold and on the Pixel tablet, it will always be there if you have navigation buttons enabled. So I don't know if that's enough for me to do it because I like having gestures, but that's an added benefit of having the navigation buttons. So first I'll talk about the software and my impressions of it. So basically this feels very minimal, whether that's just the Pixel experience or the fact that this is a first-gen product, I'm not sure. I guess only time will tell. But there is not really any specific settings for that large internal display. For example, on the Samsung Fold, you have different options, like you have the ability to set separate home screens. So you could have the internal display have a completely different home screen from the external display. You can also set the apps on the internal display to format however you want. So whereas here on the Pixel, as Warren demonstrated, you're going to get the tablet app where it's usually a side-by-side type of format. You could set that to only show the phone version of the app on the internal display if you want. And you can also customize on a Samsung phone, foldable, I should say, what happens when you close this phone. Does it continue to show the app on the external display, or does it turn off the screen? And you can even set it for an app-by-app basis. Like if I'm watching YouTube and I close it, that means I just want to continue watching YouTube on the outside screen. But if I'm reading news and I close it, that means I'm done, so turn the screen off. That sort of stuff is something that Google might add in the future. But as of right now, there's really no settings specific to that internal display. Something else that I want to mention that I actually forgot to bring up in the Pixel tablet review is that when you bring up an app on this internal display that's not tablet compatible, it's going to put the portrait version of the phone app in the center of the landscape screen. So you're going to have these black rectangles on each side of the screen that you basically don't use for anything. And the thing about that is, to make it more reachable, Google has made it so that if you double tap in those areas on the edge of the screen, it'll bring the app over to that side so that you can reach it better with either your left hand or your right hand, whichever side you decide to dock it on. But the problem with that is you can't double tap with TalkBack enabled, so you actually have to turn TalkBack completely off and then do that. So that's kind of an awkward interaction. I haven't found a way to actually be able to do it with TalkBack enabled, so hopefully that's something they can improve in the future. So before I transition into hardware, I want to talk about the battery, because that's sort of a hardware/software type experience. I just need to say that my battery life on here has been awesome. I've been shocked, honestly. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to open this up.
9:57 p.m. Device locked. Unlocked.
Battery settings.
Battery. 45%. About 14 hours. 16 minutes left. Window battery.
So as you can see, I'm down to 45%, and I've used this phone a lot today.
Battery usage. View usage since last full charge. Battery usage.
So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom just to find out what my screen time is.
System usage since last full charge.
So I'm going to open system usage.
Screen. Total. 5 hours. 3 minutes. 20%.
So I've gotten 5 hours of screen on time with this, and it's only down to 45%. That, for me, that's really good because I always keep my screen at 100% brightness.
Screen off. Ringer silent.
So I've been very surprised with that. The other day, I got down to 20%. I was using my phone all day. So I looked at the screen on time, and it was 8 hours and 20 minutes I got out of that phone and only used 80% of the battery. So the battery on this is really good. That's the thing I was worried about, but it's the thing I've been most impressed with. And it might be because I disabled the 120 hertz refresh rate. I knocked it down to 60 because my experience and what I've been reading online doesn't line up. I've been very impressed with the battery life on this. And as far as hardware goes, I love this phone. It's a little awkward if you're a one-handed user. And when I say that, I mean you hold the phone in one hand and you use your thumb to do all your navigation and you use angle gestures and stuff. That's how I use my phone most of the time. I understand that most people hold their phone in one hand and interact with the other hand. And if that's how you use your phone, then the size of this isn't going to bother you. But the fact that it's as thick as it is when it's closed makes it a little awkward if you're a one-handed user. It makes it harder to do gestures, and even double taps are more difficult with the angle that your thumb is hitting the screen at. But I think Google has the form factor down. The external display is better because it's shorter and wider and more shaped like a regular phone, and you have enough room to type on a QWERTY keyboard with it.
and the internal display is already in landscape when you open it. With Samsung's version of the Fold, you have to open it and then rotate it to get it into landscape. So that's a little awkward. I prefer the form factor of this by far. And the fingerprint sensor it's like night and day compared to any other Pixel recently, because having that fingerprint sensor on the power button is so much better than having it in the screen. Google they really messed up that implementation. So it's much better like this. The other thing I wanted to mention about the power button, though, is it is almost identical to the volume rocker. There's no texture on it, and it's really long. It's just as long almost as the volume rocker. So I get confused which button I'm pressing. And a lot of that has to do with coming from a Samsung phone where the power button's on the bottom, and now the power button's on the top, so it confuses me. There's no tactile difference between the two buttons, so I just wanted to point that out. Another thing is, and this has always been a problem for me, the back tap feature is not very reliable. If I have it on the regular setting, it's always going off accidentally, and then if I set it to be less sensitive, then I can't get it to trigger, so that's been very hit and miss. The screen is very bright. It's very bright for a Pixel, I should say. It's not as bright as my Galaxy phone, but it's definitely bright enough for me. And the speakers on this are really good. I like that they have complete separation, so it's not an earpiece speaker, but it's an actual upward firing speaker and a downward firing speaker. But the only thing about that is that when you open this up and you're holding it in landscape, your speakers are not on the left and right. There's a little bit of separation, but for the most part, you have the left speaker firing upward and the right speaker firing downward. So it's not the greatest stereo experience when you're using the phone like that. But in my case, it doesn't really matter. I almost always have earbuds in when I'm watching media on my phone. I hope I didn't ramble on too long, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on the device and what I liked and didn't like about it, hardware and software related. So thank you for listening, and I hope this has been informative.
Thank you very much, boys. One thing I would say, Warren, when you slammed that phone shut, do you know what it sounded like to me?
Oh boy, do I want to hear this?
Probably not. Probably nobody does.
Yeah, take a stab at it.
Sally, do you want to guess what it sounded like?
I see, like a Yanak.
Being a Yanak being smacked. It sounded like a cheek being smacked.
I did that for Karine because Karine wanted to hear what it would sound like.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was disappointed in, though, is that if I shut it off,
it should end the call, shouldn't it?
It should end the call. That was the whole reason why I wanted it. But I don't see me opening up the phone, walking around with a tablet, answering a call on a tablet size thing. Definitely. So for me, I never unfold that thing. I just use the outer display,
Can you imagine the embarrassment though, if you're on like a work call and you think it'll cut it off, and then you're still there?
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
You think you've flounced out, but actually you haven't. And then you're poking at the little screen trying to cut it off. You thought it's a flip phone, and you think I've stormed out. Oh no, I'm still here.
It'd be worse if you said, "Oh, so and so, such a pain to your colleague." Or
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh my god, such an embarrassing situation.
Yeah. It's like I'm still here, but I'm not. I've stormed off.
Yeah.
I'll storm off properly.
Tell me something, John. Does it hang up on the Samsung Fold or the?
That's what I was about to ask.
No, it doesn't. So I think the more embarrassing thing would just be holding that thing up to your head, opened up as a tablet. Like that to me is more embarrassing than it not hanging up. So yes, the flip will hang up because that's flip phone size, but these folding phones are not. They know nobody's going to be talking on this thing while it's open unless they have Bluetooth devices connected.
No, presumably they might. It could be a Meet call or a Skype call or a Teams call. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Why
You know,
wouldn't you do that, John?
if I'm on a team call
Yeah,
or
but you wouldn't
Skype
hold it
call
to your
or
head.
a mid call, no,
You're
you're
not
not
holding
holding it
baby
to your
in your
head.
face,
You're just
Lee.
putting it on a stand.
If
But if
you
I'm
think
done and I flip that thing, close,
Yeah.
it should end the damn
should
call.
close.
Yes.
no, it doesn't. No, because it's not a phone call. When you're on
Yeah.
Meet, how do you hang up? You hit
That's right.
end call. You don't slam
yeah.
your phone. So it's never been that
That
way.
is
So
true.
Yeah, it's the same with like the Magic tab because
But
like
Meet
it doesn't work.
Meet has also never really been on a flip phone until the flips came in. So it absolutely should work like that. Why shouldn't it work like that?
So when
well,
you
it might
can't
work on the
hang
flip.
up,
I don't know.
when you can't hang up at the end, you go, oh, flipping it.
You do folding neck.
Yeah, I think that the whole idea is to be able to have that continuum, being able to use it on the outer screen and also on the inner or unfolded screen. So I can see what they are doing. But like I said, for me personally, I don't see me ever unfolding that. It's just not I'm not a
Yeah,
tablet kind of guy.
because on the flip devices, when you close it, you're done using it. On the fold, you might just be closing it because you want to switch to the other screen. So it's not gonna, at least not by default, it won't hang up.
No, but
So-
you should be able to set that.
So Jen, I'm just curious because I know Donnie tried the Samsung and the Google. I tried the Samsung. So do you notice any differences? Like, what any advantages like does Samsung have or Google, whatever?
So I like the hardware of the Google better, but I like the software of Samsung better. So-
Yeah. Yeah, I think I could agree because when I hold the Samsung in my hands, like the Fold or the Flip, I can feel it like it's very breakable. Like it can break easily. So I think I would agree with that. I haven't seen the Pixel, but I think I agree.
And is that right, John, about the Samsung Flip though? Isn't there an outer screen?
There is an outer screen
Yeah,
in the Flip.
that's what
Yeah,
I thought.
but
Like
you wouldn't-
John
very
saying there
basic.
isn't. Like you should.
It's
I
very
think you
basic.
are
you
done.
don't continue doing what you're doing on the outer screen. It just turns
Yeah.
into like a little notification.
It's
thing
more
that
like a
shows you the time.
notification. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like
There's
you
a
can just
screen. I think.
answer calls or something. It's very basic,
You can't use
Yeah.
it for
No.
an app though.
Yeah,
And-
I
and-
think though if you shut a fold, then it should, or at least you should be able to set it to end whatever that process is. I get the
Yeah, if
fact
you
you might
want-
not always want it to, but
Yeah.
it should.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, I
John, you
think-
were saying you can on the Samsung, weren't you? For
Yeah,
something.
and this is why
No.
Google corrected that, with theirs because, I mean, I have this screen upside. I should be able to use it for other things. I don't need to have it, unfolded all the time. And so I like the approach that Google took.
No, so
What made me-
Samsung and Google take the same approach for the foldable. The one that does hang up is the Flip,
Mm.
the Samsung Flip, which Google does not have an equivalent of.
Like
It
my
used to
biggest
be
beef-
very satisfying, didn't it? When you in the old days when you were really cross with somebody and you could just go, "Thank you, then bye." You can't do
Yeah,
that
it's
anymore.
such a
That's-
stress reliever if you're fighting with someone.
I
Yeah.
never owned a Flip.
Didn't you?
Nope. Never
You
had
didn't
a
have
Flip.
one of those really old phones with a little flap on it, or a
No, I had maybe the even older phones where it looked like that chubby little Sony, that chubby little Ericsson with the static aerial that beeped 3 times every time you turned it on and it
I
acquired
had one of those, but it had a little flap at the bottom
No, mine didn't.
that you closed over the buttons. It was really cool.
I honestly think my biggest beef with the Pixel Fold is you can't change your inner versus outer screen. So your inner screen seems to be only reflective of what your outer screen is. Where I believe with the Samsung, you can actually have 2 different screen layouts. So for me, that's a huge drawback.
What made me laugh in Warren's review was he kept saying, "But if you just want to use the outer screen, you can do this, this, this." And I was just sitting there going, "But then why would you buy a Fold?" you could just buy an ordinary phone if you don't want to use the inner
Warren just
screen.
wants his phone to be extra heavy.
That was just from my bias because I'm never a tablet kind of person. So I got this not because I wanted a tablet. I just wanted to see what it is, and frankly, I don't see me using a It's not.
Yeah.
It's not for me. There are people that this would be just a perfect work device for them, and I'm not in that camp, so I couldn't be seeing me, putting that thing up there. Nah, not for me.
Yeah, and I think
I'm-
that's the big difference between why I like the hardware of the Pixel Fold better is you never feel like you have to open the phone. You can. So obviously there are certain situations where you would want to use the tablet mode, like if you're doing apps side by side or if you're watching videos or something like that. But you never open it just because the outside screen is too cramped, and that's something I was coming across with the Samsung Fold. Is it's such a narrow screen that even using like a regular QWERTY keyboard becomes frustrating. You're like, I guess I need to open this to get something done. You never feel like that with the Pixel Fold. I think that's.
But if you don't have to open it, what's the point?
No, you don't have to. Well, you never feel like you have to open it to just do regular things, is what I'm saying.
So
Obviously,
it's not
better in
imposed on
certain
you.
situations.
You're not being forced to open the inner square. Yeah, I get that.
Coming up next, our app of the week, in which we show you how to use the app and review its accessibility. You can submit your recording for this segment. Email it to us at contactus@blindandroidusers.com.
And now we move to the app of the week, and I demonstrate the Google Calendar. Hello everyone, I'm Ed Green, and this week I'm demonstrating the Google Calendar app. It's fairly self-explanatory. It's an app that helps you track events, tasks, and provides reminders of things that you need to do. We probably could spend quite a few weeks looking at the different features of Google Calendar, but I'm just really bringing you a quick overview of the app today. We'll take a look at navigating the calendar, some of the different views that are on offer. We'll create events in a couple of different ways, and I'll also show you some, though by no means all, of the app's different settings. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Google Calendar.
Calendar, search button.
And we're in the Calendar app. It's landed on one of the buttons. Now it's worth exploring the top row of the Calendar app initially, so just below your status bar, because there are some key controls here. So I'm going to start on the left.
Show calendar list and settings drawer button.
So in here you can find the different calendars that you have access to on your Google phone. On your Android phone even. Each Google account you sign into on your phone will have its own calendars. I have quite a few. You can also find settings and a couple of other things that you can enable, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. So if I carry on exploring to the right,
June, show date picker.
Here is where you would change the date that you're currently viewing. We'll talk about views in a minute, but this is the date picker. So if you double tap on that, you can navigate to specific dates. Unlike Google Calendar on the web, there's unfortunately no go-to button, so you can't type a date in manually. You're going to have to explore it on here, but it's not particularly difficult. So I'll carry on exploring right.
Search button.
Search will let you search for a specific event. Maybe you can't remember what it is, but you vaguely know what it is. You might want to come in here and do that.
Jump to the date button.
Very important button this. If you are navigating your calendar, maybe you've gone into the date picker and you want to get back to the day, then this is where you're going to come to do it. A nice handy button, and we're towards the top right hand corner of the app. It's not in the exact top right hand corner because there you have
signed in as Edward Green or Green 1. Jump to the date button.
Yeah, the thing you have on the Play Store and other Google apps as well, where you get into your Google account and settings. You don't get into your calendar settings that way, interestingly enough. So I'm going to go back to the left-hand side, and we'll move down the screen now.
Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open day view.
So it announced today's date, and it said Open Day View. Now, I can do that, and I'll do it in a minute. What we're currently in is what it calls Schedule View. Some calendars call this Agenda View. And what you have is you have all your events broken up by day. So you can swipe and swipe and swipe and swipe, or slide your finger down the screen, and it will tell you various things. It'll just keep going. It's not a view defined by a time frame particularly. I don't have a great deal of events in my personal calendar, but I'll show you what I mean when I swipe.
Nothing planned. Tap to create.
So it's saying nothing planned, and I could create an event from there. I'm not going to. I'll just carry on and showing you.
July 2023.
So it's missed out the 29th and 30th entirely because I don't actually have any events. So it's not bothered telling me I have nothing planned. It's just skipped it. Obviously, the focus is on the current day when you open a calendar, almost in any view. So that's why today was handled differently.
3 July 9th.
3 July 9th, the 3rd to the 9th of July. I suspect that's because of the way the text processing on my text-to-speech works, coupled with my language format choices for my phone. So I have a UK phone, but a US English text-to-speech, which is why you could possibly get a slightly garbled date range. I'll keep going, though.
10 July 16th. Thursday, July 13th, 2023. Open day view.
So we're coming up with a day with an event on it. So let's carry on.
Task. Top up tablet data all day.
Yeah, so top up tablet data. I have unlimited data on one of my SIM cards, and the network allows you to transfer up to 100 gig to other SIM cards, as many as you like. So obviously that's cheaper than buying them data themselves. So on the day that the unlimited data refreshes, I transfer that data. So you're hearing how it's handling it. It's pulled up the specific day. So I'm going to go back to today. Why don't we use that button in the towards the top right?
Jump to the date button. Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open day view.
So it says I can open day view. I can also do this in the very first button we looked at that takes us into calendars and into the drawer, essentially. Before I do that, though, there's one other area of the screen I want to show you. Now we've essentially navigated at the top and what's on it, and that is the bottom right-hand corner.
Create new event and more button.
Create new event and more, and we'll go in here in a minute. You also might recall that another way to do that was when we heard that we had nothing planned for today. It said double tap to create. That would do the same thing. So let's go back towards the top of the screen, just below that line of buttons we talked about.
Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open day view.
So I can open day view from here, and I'm actually going to do that rather than going to the menu. Though you'll see when we do into the drawer that the views are there as well. So I'll double tap. No haptics instantly. It has changed though. So no haptic, no anything really from TalkBack to denote that. So let's see what we've got now.
Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open schedule view.
So if I double tap again, that's essentially a toggle. That would put us back into that schedule or agenda view that we just looked at.
Create new event and more button.
And because I have nothing scheduled for today, the first thing is create event.
Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open schedule view.
Now, the other good thing about day view is that I can move days relatively easily. I can do a 2-finger swipe left. It's a 1-finger swipe for sighted users, obviously, to go to a later day.
Thursday, June 29th, 2023. Friday, June 30th, 2023. Open schedule view.
And I can come back with a 2-finger swipe right.
Thursday, June 29th, 2023. Open schedule view. Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open schedule view.
And that's the other nice thing about TalkBack, of course. That's an Android gesture, but if you want to perform it, all you do is add a finger. So if you're asking someone how to use the calendar, you can just add a finger to what they tell you to do. Nice feature, underrated feature of TalkBack and Android. So let's have a look at creating an event then. So I'm going to double tap that button we talked about.
Create new event and more button. Event button.
So what do we have? We have event.
Task button. Working location button.
So if I'm sharing my calendar in a work context, working location can be helpful because it can tell people where I am. If they think they can catch me in the office, but actually I've set a location to home, they'll know they can't. They'll know that if they want to meet me that day, they'll need to include some sort of virtual option. So people underuse this feature in a work context, in my view, especially given the greater increase of hybrid working post-COVID, but it is there.
Out of office button.
And I can tell people that I'm out of office.
Cancel button.
I don't want to cancel out, so I'm going to go back to event.
Event button.
I'll double tap.
Add title. Show in English. UK. QWERTY.
Now I've been invited to a barbecue in a couple of weeks, so I may as well put this in.
Capital V out of list. Capital B. Capital B. N. November. B. Q. Quebec. Q.
Now in the top right hand here, I have a save button.
Editing. BBQ. Save. Button. Out of list. Editing. BBQ. Edit box. Add title. 1 of 23. And list. 23 items.
That is a little bit premature because I haven't actually set anything else yet. So let's carry on and see what else we can do in here.
Button. Events. Or green.
So that's telling me where it's being saved. I could change this and set one of the other addresses on my phone and it would save in that calendar instead. I don't need to do that.
All day. Off. Switch. 5 of 23.
It's not an all-day event, but that's quite helpful.
Start date. WED. June 28th, 2023.
So it isn't today. I'm going to double tap on start date.
Keyboard hidden. Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. 2023. Out of list. WED. June 28th.
So it is in 2023. I'm going to double tap the day.
Select month and day. Previous month. Button. Next month. Button.
It is in July, so I'm going to hit next month. Seems the most simple way to do it.
Page 1483 of 2412. July 1st, 2023, and pager. July 2nd, 2023.
It's actually on July the 11th, so I'm just going to carry on like this.
July 11th, 2023. Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Selected.
I just double tapped it to set it.
OK, but cancel, button. OK, button.
We actually want an OK button, which is below all of that, but it's not in the bottom right. It's about a third of the way down the screen.
BBQ. Show in English. UK. QWERTY. Calendar. Start date. Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. 5 of 23. And list. 23 items.
The start date is set.
Start time. 0630.
No, it's not at 6:30 in the morning. I'll go in and change that.
0630. Select hours. 06. Out of list. Keyboard hidden. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 19. 20. Selected. 19. OK. Button. BBQ. Calendar. Start time. 19:30. 5 of 23. And list. 23 items.
So the minutes were right. So it's set now for 7:30 or 19:30 as it has it.
End date. Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. End time. 20:30.
It'll be longer than that now, but I don't really need an end date. The only end time, the only purpose for setting that is if I'm worried that something else is going to go in over the top of it. As long as I have a start time for this event, actually, it's fine.
Button. British Summer Time. 6 of 23.
I can change the time zone here.
Button. Does not repeat. 7 of 23.
It's not a recurring event, although if we went into here, we could find all sorts of recurrence options if we wanted, weekly, monthly, weekly on certain days, or all sorts of that. As you might imagine in a calendar, you can go in and explore that if you like.
Add people. 9 of 23.
Do I want to invite anybody? No, I'm not hosting it, so this is just a reminder to me to turn up.
View schedules. Button. 10 of 23.
I don't need to view anyone's schedules.
Button. Add video conferencing. 12 of 23.
That would be boring. That would be a virtual barbecue. I don't really want to go to that.
Button. Add location. 14 of 23.
I could add a location. I know where it is though, but there I could just type in a location if I wanted to. That's fairly self-explanatory.
30 minutes before. 16 of 23.
30 minutes before. This is obviously talking about the reminder, although it doesn't say it. 30 minutes is plenty because it's about a 15-minute walk away.
Remove notification. Button.
If I don't want it to notify me, I can do that.
Button. Add notification. 17 of 23.
If I want to customize it or add a different notification.
Button. Default color. 19 of 23.
I don't really care what color the appointment is.
Add description. Edit box. 21 of 23.
I don't need a description. I could do, though, if this were a meeting request, say, and I wanted to provide more information that was in the title, then I might put that here.
Button. Add attachment. 23 of 23.
If I wanted to add meeting papers or an attachment, I could do that. So I don't, because it's a barbecue. And as I said, the save button was in the top right-hand corner.
Button. Events. Or green one. Save. Button. Out of list.
So I'll double tap save.
Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Open schedule view.
So let's go see if it's there. Getting there via day view is going to be a bit slow, so I'll double tap on schedule view, that toggle we talked about. And now I'll explore, and we should find one more event than we had previously.
Nothing planned. Tap to create.
That's for today, obviously.
July 2023. 3 July 9th. 10 July 16th. Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Open day view. BBQ 1930-2030.
And there it is. I didn't have to open day view to see that. It was associated with this day. I'm going to go into this now. I'll double tap it.
View event. BBQ. Unlabeled.
Now I could edit it, or I can delete it, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to go into more options at the top.
More options. Button. Pop-up window. Delete and list. View event. BBQ. Delete this event out of list. Cancel. Button. Delete. Button. View event.
Now, while that's perfectly doable from your phone screen, and there may be reasons you want to do that, you can, of course, do it a different way. We could get Google Assistant to do this for us. So why don't I see if that works?
Home. Button.
Create an event.
What's the title of the event?
Barbecue.
All right. When is the event?
The 11th of July, 2023.
At what time?
7:30 p.m.
Okay, barbecue on the 11th of July at 7:30 p.m. Do you want to save that?
Yes.
Sure, I added it.
So let's see if that works.
Calendar. Search. Button. July 2023. 3 July 9th. 10 July 16th. Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Open day view. Barbecue 1930-2030.
And there it is. I have found this to be a little bit glitchy. There was a time where, fairly recently, earlier in 2023, where the assistant would only create events for the current day, regardless of when you said the event was. They do seem to have fixed that. What I have found, though, is if you try and invoke Google Assistant from the calendar, it won't always create the event. It says it's done it, and there's absolutely nothing there. So what I did prior to doing that was to exit the calendar by hitting the home screen, getting the assistant to do it, and doing that. And you can experiment by stringing together more of the instructions than I did there. So you could include the date and time. You could try and go it all in one go. If you do find the glitches, though, use smaller pieces of information. I don't know if it's that the sorts of strings you use to create the event and the amount of natural language options you include at once has an impact as well. I haven't troubleshot all the variables, but if you want a fail-safe way to get it to work, do it from outside the calendar and ask it one thing at a time. It seems, to me anyway, to be slightly more reliable that way. Obviously, your mileage may vary. So we'll now go into the calendar list and settings drawer by tapping that button at the top left.
Show calendar list and settings drawer button. Menu list.
So the first thing you have here are different views. I mentioned the toggle where you can change day view to schedule view, but if I explore this, you'll see there are
schedule view selected, day view, 3-day view, week view, month view.
And they will work as you might imagine they would work. And the 2-finger swipes left and right will also change the 3-day, week and month to the next and previous and next periods. So what we have following that are the ability to turn off events or tasks for each of the Google accounts set up on your phone. I'm not going to show you all of that. As I mentioned at the start, I have a lot of them. So I will scroll down towards the bottom and show you a couple of other things you may want to change.
Birthdays, ticked.
And that will show you birthdays if you've entered them into your contacts. That can be quite handy if you've put dates of birth in for family and friends.
Holidays, unticked.
Holidays. Now, I untick this. I don't particularly need holidays on my calendar. Literally all I want from my calendar is to tell me what I have to do today.
Settings.
So I'll show you a few settings categories, by no means all, because there are quite a lot in here. So I'll double tap.
Settings. Back button out of list. Settings. More options button. General 1 of 18 and list 18 items.
So we'll go into general first of all.
General. Start of the week, Monday, 1 of 17, and list 17 items.
So it's not the start of the week in every location. Obviously, that might be Sunday in some jurisdictions.
Use devices time zone on switch 2 of 17.
Fairly sensible, probably.
Time zone British Summer Time GMT +1 sun disabled 3 of 17. Alternative calendar, no alternative calendar 4 of 17.
If I turned devices time zone off, I could obviously adjust the previous option about British Summer Time. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to use an alternative calendar either, so we'll carry on.
Show week number off, switch 5 of 17.
I really don't need a week number. That's fine.
Show declined events on switch 6 of 17.
Show declined events. Now, this is interesting in a work context. For me, I don't particularly like it. It means my calendar's too cluttered. My personal calendar isn't particularly cluttered, so I'm not going to turn this off. But you can do, and I do indeed on my work Google Calendar.
Display shorter entries the same size as 30 minute entries. Off, switch 7 of 17.
So visually, depending on how long the calendar event is, you can adjust how it looks. Not particularly useful for screen reader users, so do as you will with that setting.
Default event duration 8 of 17.
So you can change default event duration if you want. Typically it's an hour. You can shorten that, and you can change it for each calendar as well.
CON veteran story or green 1009.
I'll go to my main
Cancel.
one.
15 minutes and list. 20 minutes. 30 minutes. 45 minutes. Ticked. 60. 90 minutes. 120. Cancel. Button out of.
I'll just hit cancel to get out of this.
Settings. Or green 1009. MICHIKOG. Or green veteran story copy.
And back again.
Back. Button out of list. General. Adding invitations 9 of 17.
Let's go see what we have in the adding invitations section. And in here we have
add invitations to my calendar only if the sender is known 7 of 13. Let others see all invitations if they have permission to view or edit my events. Off. Switch 8 of 13.
So that's really about who can send you invitations and who can see them. So you can go in and change that as you like.
Back button out of general. Add video conferencing 10 of 17.
So you can go in here if you want your events to come by default with video conferencing. You can do that rather than having to add them on an event by event basis. I'd be careful with this, especially for in-person meetings, because people may not show up. We've had that a few times during sort of hybrid working arrangements where people have defaulted to that and have forgotten essentially that it's on, and then wondered why no one turned up in their physical meeting room, and obviously they didn't connect to the device. So be slightly careful about that setting.
Theme system default 11 of 17. Notifications 12 of 17.
Let's see what we have here.
Notify on this device on switch 13 of 17.
Pretty sensible, I would have said.
Calendar notifications 14 of 17.
Go in there and have a look at what notifications you could have.
Tasks notifications 15 of 17. You can change default notifications by going to the individual calendar. For example, events 16 of 17. Quick responses 17 of 17.
So you can, as it said, have different notifications and events for different calendars. Let me back out of here.
Button out of settings. Events from Gmail 2 of 18.
Let's go and have a look at events from Gmail. I'm not going to go into all of this, but it is quite interesting. So we'll double tap on that. That's the next settings category.
Events from Gmail. Events from Gmail. Show events from Gmail on switch 2 of 8 and list 8. Privacy of email events only me 3 of 8.
So what does show events from Gmail mean?
Gmail can automatically create events that can be displayed on your calendar. These events will help you keep track of things like flights and other reservations. To get events from Gmail, you must also turn on smart features and personalization in Gmail settings. Learn more. 8 of 8.
I'm not going to go into how to turn on the necessary Gmail settings to have that happen, could be helpful depending on if you like how Gmail creates the events. You may prefer to keep more control over that and turn it off.
Back button up. Settings. Settings. Back button. Events 4 of 18. Tasks 5 of 18.
What you have in the next part of settings is the ability to control events and tasks for the different accounts on the device, and I'm not going to go into that.
Birthdays 17 of 18. Holidays 18 of 18.
And here you have birthdays and holidays. I've told you about birthdays in terms of them coming from your contacts. Let's go see what holidays has to say for itself.
Holidays. Holidays. Back button out. Holidays. More options button. Color eucalyptus. National holidays. United Kingdom 6 of 13. Add religious holidays 7 of 13.
So if we go into religious holidays.
Religious holidays. Christian holidays. Enlist. Hindu holidays. Jewish holidays. Muslim holidays. Orthodox holidays. Cancel button out of list. OK button. Cancel.
So there are the different sorts of holidays you can add. As I say, I don't particularly want holidays on my calendar. If you have turned holidays off, as I have, they're all going to be unchecked when you go into them. If holidays are on, they're going to be checked, and you can just reverse the ones you don't want in either scenario. And that concludes this demonstration of the Google Calendar. I doubt there's much to say about calendar. Anyone got anything to say about that?
I don't really use the calendar because I just say the wake words and make my appointments. I mean, so I am using the calendar, but I just tend to make my appointments by saying the words and saying, the wake words, hey, G word, and then make appointment for Tuesday at 3 p.m, dentist or whatever it is. And then if I've forgotten when it is, I could ask it when my dentist appointment is. So it's good to have a demo of how the calendar actually works, because I don't really look at it.
Coming up next is the tip of the week. Stay tuned for tips, tricks and more about Android.
And now we move to our tip of the week, where Warren demonstrates how to remove devices from the Google Assistant if you find it's getting a bit laggy and you've bought lots of phones and speakers and everything else. So here he goes to streamline all of that.
Hi. For episode 135 tip of the week, this is demonstrating how to delink some of your assistant devices that are linked to your account. This popped up for me earlier this week. I think it was on Thursday. Out of nowhere, there was this pop-up saying there were too many assistant devices on my account, and that if I wanted a faster response from the assistant, I needed to remove some of these devices I haven't used in a while. If you haven't seen that coming up, I'll show you how to go about finding where that is in the event that you would like to remove devices that you no longer have, for example, because every time that you use an assistant on your account, it gets added to the list of assistant devices. And so if you've sold some devices or whatever the case may be, or even when you do a reset, that is a factory reset, and you set up the phone again, it counts it as a new device getting added. I had over 160 devices, but the actual devices were 40 as to the remaining of them, which are basically resets and all of that. There are a couple ways of doing so. The first one involves bringing up the Google app itself and then tapping on your username on the top right, then scroll down, tap on the settings. And now that you've tapped on the settings, then you scroll down, go find the assistant and tap on it. And then you will go tap on devices. The second method, however, is the one I'm using, which is basically bringing up the assistant app itself and then tap on where it talks about the assistant avatar, the menu. Here's what I'm talking about.
User avatar icon, tap for Google Assistant menu button.
There we go. So I tap here.
Assistant settings. Popular settings heading.
Now we are in the assistant, just like if we had gone through the Google settings and all of that and tapping on the assistant, we'll land on the same place. The item we're looking for here will be devices that are linked to our assistant. Now, instead of scrolling down to go find that because it's way down there, you may simply want to tap on the search found near the top of the screen and type the word devices. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll now put my finger down and tap on search.
Search settings. Search settings.
And I'll tap.
Search settings. Edit box.
Now I'm going to type devices or maybe DEVI.
Showing English US QWERTY.
So I'll go ahead and type.
D D E E V V I C C E E S S.
I have typed devices, and now I'll put my finger near the top,
Showing
and
items 1 to 3 of 3.
what I'm looking for is the item that says devices linked to my assistant.
Devices. Manage devices that are linked to your assistant. 1 of 3. In list. 3 items. Window assistant settings.
That's the one I want.
Keyboard hidden. Assistant settings. Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
Now, upon tapping on that, we're on a window that shows all of our active devices, and, putting my finger down, showing you the example of some of the devices on my account.
Chromecast. Dining room. Office Wi-Fi. The cat. Chromecast.
So things like that. Now, at the bottom of the list of the active devices, you're going to find something that says,
free up space and improve your experience by removing devices that haven't been used in 3 months or more. Remove unused devices.
This is where all those dormant devices are found. So if I tap here,
Assistant settings. Controller web feature progress bar. Progress bar. In progress. Web view.
Now, if I put my finger near the top,
remove unused assistant devices. Heading 1.
And moving down,
get a faster assistant by removing devices that haven't been used in 3 months or more. This means your other assistant devices won't be able to communicate with the devices you removed. To add a device back, just use your assistant on that device.
Okay.
All devices 0.
Now we're in the list and it says all devices 0 because I had cleaned mine out. But if you have devices you haven't used and you haven't cleaned up, you'll see those devices here. Now there's a checkbox that will say select all unused devices, or to the right of each of those unused devices will be a checkbox. So if you want to check them one by one, you could check them one by checking the checkbox that is found to the right of each of those devices that are listed, or simply tap on select all and it will check all of them. Now, whether you check them all or select one by one, at the bottom right of the screen is going to be a button that says remove. Tapping on that remove now takes you to another dialog that says, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Removing this is going to set them back to the factory reset. It's going to reset them back to factory defaults. What that means is not talking about the fact that your phone or anything is going to be reset back to the factory defaults. Rather, what this implies is that when you do this, the assistant on that device is going to be set back to its factory default. It's not going to have your customization. So you need to enable the assistant on there again to customize it. And that's all that is about. And now you know how to go about resetting your assistant devices or removing assistant devices that are linked to your account that you no longer use. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us.
Austin, how can people get in touch with us?
To contact us, you can send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. You can join our mailing list by sending an email to blind Android users plus subscribe at groups.io. You can join our Telegram, Facebook, Discord, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The links for everything will be at the bottom of the show notes and also in the video description of the YouTube channel. And also the links are in the websites panel of the YouTube channels.
That's it for this week, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. Say goodbye to the people, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.